I'm a nice person, man. I never want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I will.
BetterHelp, the therapy app that entered our lives claiming to improve our mental health one text message at a time. It's pitched as the solution for the modern, overworked, and overstressed generation. Therapy that's quick, affordable, and doesn't require us to put on pants? Count us in. Actually, maybe don't. Listen to the rest of the video first. Because beneath the shiny marketing, influencer endorsements, and the cheerful promises of accessibility for all, lies a more troubling narrative. One involving questionable data practices, varying therapist quality, and a business model that some argue puts profit ahead of people. It's a familiar story. A grand promise collides with a messy reality of human vulnerability. And the outcomes? They're about as complicated as our emotions after a late-night binge-watching session of some self-help guru on YouTube telling us to manifest our destiny, while we're eating cold pizza. Let's just be honest. Mental health care is facing a crisis. Traditional therapy is costly, hard to access, and often shrouded in stigma. Platforms like BetterHelp emerged to fill this gap, and for many, they've provided crucial support. But can we really trust them with something as sensitive and personal as our mental health well-being? Is BetterHelp the hero we've been waiting for, or just another Silicon Valley venture peddling snake oil disguised as self-care? Today, we're digging into BetterHelp's polished exterior to examine the good, the bad, and the deeply, deeply concerning. This isn't merely about one company. It's about our approach to mental health in a world where every solution comes with a subscription fee and every issue is just seen as another chance for profit. If you enjoy this type of content, maybe give me a like, maybe even subscribe. Go grab your tea, coffee, or that emotional support water bottle that you've been holding on to since 2020, and let's explore the promises and pitfalls of BetterHelp. Spoiler alert, it's going to be a wild journey.
I can't do this.
Hey, Marley. Why don't you walk me through what happened?
I had another panic attack earlier. Can we go over some more grounding techniques?
BetterHelp burst into the scene in 2013 like the Beyoncé of online therapy. Fresh, ambitious, and determined to shake things up in the stale industry. Long waitlists, sky-high costs, and limited availability had left many people feeling abandoned by the traditional mental health care system. Enter founder Elon Mattis, who said enough of this nonsense. Frustrated by his own experience of trying to get into therapy, Mattis decided to disrupt the game by creating a platform that connects people with licensed therapists, all without leaving the couch. It was bold, modern, and exactly what the self-care generation was waiting for. That simple idea caught fire. By 2015, BetterHelp was thriving so hard it caught the attention of Teladoc Health, a major telemedicine player, which snatched it up for $3.5 million. The deal supercharged BetterHelp's growth, turning it into the reigning queen of online therapy. Sure, competitors like Talkspace and 7Cups were around, but BetterHelp was running the show. With its sleek app, aggressive marketing, and a pitch that screamed therapy made easy, it quickly became the face of digital mental health care. At the heart of its rise, there were three promises: accessibility, affordability, and stigma busting. BetterHelp made therapy as simple as logging into Netflix. No commutes, no waiting rooms, no awkward magazine piles to shuffle through. It offered video calls, phone chats, live messaging, and even texting. Therapy anywhere, anytime? Yes, please. For people juggling packed schedules, rural isolation, or just plain social anxiety, BetterHelp's convenience was a game changer. And the price? Well, compared to traditional therapy, which can burn a $100 to $250 per hour hole in your wallet, BetterHelp's $60 to $90 per week subscription model felt like a steal. That got you unlimited messaging with your therapist and a weekly live session, which sounded like the holy grail of affordable mental health care. Of course, affordable is relative, but compared to the alternative, BetterHelp made therapy feel less like a luxury and more like a realistic option for millions. BetterHelp didn't just tackle the logistics, of course. It also came for the stigma. Walking into a therapist's office can feel like a parade of your insecurities, with a side of imposter syndrome. BetterHelp let people skip the whole public therapy vibe by connecting from home, where you could cry in your pajamas with zero judgment. It was therapy for the Netflix and chill generation, normalizing the process and making mental health care feel approachable and maybe even a little bit cool. Of course, BetterHelp's rise wasn't just about its features. The platform rode the cultural wave of tech addiction, mental health awareness, and influencer economy like a pro. It partnered with YouTubers and podcasters like Shane Dawson and Philip DeFranco, who sold it to their millions of followers with a heartfelt endorsement about how BetterHelp is changing their lives. The marketing blitz worked like a charm, but not without raising some serious side eyes about transparency and ethics. Influencers selling therapy. That's just a little weird. But as BetterHelp hit its stride, cracks started to show. Questions about therapist qualifications, data privacy, and whether the platform really delivered on its promises began to bubble up. What started as a revolutionary way to fix mental health care suddenly didn't look so perfect. Is BetterHelp the future of therapy, or just another tech company faking it till it makes it? The jury's still out, but one thing's for sure, the conversation about mental health care is just getting started, exactly like BetterHelp's controversies.
If you've ever used online therapy provider BetterHelp, you may receive a refund eligibility notice. This follows a nearly $8 million settlement with the Federal Trade Commission. It's over allegations that the company shared data with advertisers.
When people turn to therapy, they're not just looking for advice. They're seeking a sanctuary, a judgment-free zone to spill their deepest secrets and fears. BetterHelp marketed itself as that safe space online, promising privacy and confidentiality. So when the 2023 data breach scandal hit, it wasn't just a tech hiccup. It was a betrayal. BetterHelp didn't just fumble the ball. It burned the entire playbook, leaving users wondering if they'd been sold out to the highest bidder. How about we start with the scandal's star villain, the Federal Trade Commission's FTC complaint. In March 2023, the FTC revealed that BetterHelp had been quietly sharing sensitive user data with advertisers like Facebook, Snapchat, and Pinterest. This wasn't some innocent accident either. It was a calculated business move to target new users. We're talking email addresses, mental health details like whether or not users had anxiety or depression, and even session metadata. Imagine spilling your heart out online only to be served up a Facebook ad later that screams, "Feeling anxious? Try BetterHelp." Creepy, right? This struck a nerve because it shattered the core tenets of therapy: confidentiality, consent, and ethics. BetterHelp claimed users had agreed to data sharing, but the FTC begged to differ. The company's vague privacy policies left users in the dark, making this less about informed consent and more about exploitation. Even if the data wasn't technically sold, the whole situation reeked of a profit over people mentality. Therapy is supposed to be sacred, not a marketing tool. The fallout? A $7.8 million settlement, which might sound huge until you realize BetterHelp's parent company, Teladoc Health, raked in over $720 million in revenue in 2021 alone. The FTC also barred BetterHelp from sharing health data for advertising. But let's be real, the damage was done. Social media erupted with calls for stricter regulations, and trust in the platform plummeted faster than a TikTok trend. Beyond the immediate drama, this scandal put the spotlight on deeper issues. First, it highlighted how vulnerable people seeking mental health support can be exploited in the name of data-driven business models. It also raised questions about the ethics of for-profit mental health platforms. Should companies offering therapy be allowed to treat sensitive user data like ad fuel? Spoiler, no, they shouldn't. Yet here we are, watching mental health care get commodified like any other tech service. BetterHelp's response? Defensive and unconvincing. The company claimed that it never sold user data, that the information was de-identified. But privacy experts have repeatedly pointed out how easily de-identified data can be traced back to individuals. The semantics game didn't fool anyone, and users saw right through the PR spin. If anything, evasiveness only made the betrayal sting more. This whole fiasco was a wake-up call for the online therapy industry. Platforms like BetterHelp need stricter regulations, clearer transparency, and stronger user protections. Therapy isn't just another service, it's a lifeline for people at their most vulnerable. If companies can't handle that responsibility with care, they shouldn't be in the game. And for users, let this be a reminder to always read the fine print before entrusting your secrets to an app.
I was talking about my relationship with food and with my body image after I'd said all of this about how I was struggling, and she said, "Have you thought about Slim Fast?"
My therapist on BetterHelp made me feel like a number, like she would forget my name.
I mentioned the extent of the weight I had lost, and that's when she said, "Congratulations on all that weight loss."
BetterHelp burst into the scene with big promises. Professional, affordable, and convenient therapy available anytime, anywhere. Its pitch, therapy tailored to your needs at a fraction of the cost, was exactly what a stressed, overworked, and therapy-curious world wanted to hear. But as the platform scaled, cracks in their shiny exterior began to show, leaving some users wondering if they were paying for help or just another app subscription. The platform promised personalized care, 24/7 accessibility, and flexibility. But user experiences often told a very different story. While some praised BetterHelp for the convenience and affordability, others reported being matched with therapists who lacked the qualifications and expertise to address their issues. Complaints about delayed responses, generic advice, and disengaged therapists began to pile up, casting doubt on whether the platform could deliver the meaningful professional support that it advertised. One of the platform's biggest pain points, its matching process. BetterHelp's algorithm pairs users with therapists based on intake questionnaires, but users often reported mismatches that felt more like random pairings than tailored solutions. Many sought specialists, like trauma-informed or LGBTQ+ therapists, only to be matched with a generalist who lacked the necessary expertise. Others found therapists who appeared to be disengaged or underqualified, leaving them frustrated and unsupported. Unlike traditional therapy, which often involves thoughtful referrals by professionals, BetterHelp's reliance on automation left much to be desired. Therapist qualifications and oversight have also been major sticking points. While the platform insists it only employs licensed professionals, reports of inconsistent vetting have surfaced. Users have shared stories of therapists who seem unprepared for complex issues or offered just generic advice, like suggesting a walk to combat severe depression. BetterHelp's decentralized model also limits oversight, making it harder to ensure therapists uphold ethical standards, with some managing overwhelming caseloads. Therapist burnout is a very real concern. BetterHelp's 24/7 accessibility, one of the most appealing features, also has its downsides. While users can message therapists at any time, responses aren't guaranteed to be prompt or meaningful. Many have shared stories of delayed replies during crises and receiving copy-pasted responses that felt very impersonal. The asynchronous nature of text-based therapy, while convenient, often lacks depth and emotional nuance users expect, leaving some feeling unheard and unsupported. The platform's business model doesn't help. BetterHelp's subscription-based approach prioritizes scalability, but often conflicts with the principles of effective therapy. Therapists, juggling high caseloads, may resort to shortcuts like generic responses to keep up. Additionally, the subscription model can create a transactional feel, with some users feeling like therapy is less about healing and more about retaining them as subscribers. Despite its flaws, BetterHelp isn't without its success stories. Many users have found it convenient and an affordable alternative to traditional therapy, with some praising therapists who genuinely cared and provided meaningful guidance. However, for every positive experience, there's a cautionary tale. Therapists canceling sessions last minute, mismatched expertise, or responses that feel like a brush off. The platform's inconsistency makes it a gamble, one that's worked for some but disappointed many, many others. If BetterHelp wants to live up to its potential, it needs to address these issues head on, refining its matching process, improving transparency, and reducing therapist caseloads. And setting a clear expectation for responsiveness would go a long way towards rebuilding trust. For now, BetterHelp remains a work in progress, an ambitious platform that has helped many but still struggles to balance accessibility with quality. For users, the lesson is clear. Online therapy can be a valuable tool, but it's worth approaching platforms like BetterHelp with cautious optimism and a critical eye.
Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. This is something I really think is great, something I actually really believe in. So BetterHelp is a service and an app where you can get affordable and private online counseling whenever you want. Like I've said before, going to a therapist office or sitting down with a counselor can be kind of intimidating and a little scary, which is why I love this, because you can just be on your phone, you don't have to go in anywhere, and you can just set up your appointment. You can message them when you want to talk. It's just really easy. So if you want to check it out, I'll put the link right at the top of the description below. It's betterhelp.com/Shane.
BetterHelp's colossal rise wasn't just about its innovative platform. It was fueled by an aggressive influencer marketing strategy. By partnering with YouTubers, podcasters, and Instagram stars, BetterHelp tapped into audiences' eagerness to hear about relatable mental health solutions. On paper, it made perfect sense. Influencers, many of them who openly shared their struggles, provide authentic-seeming endorsements that resonate with followers. But beneath the surface, this strategy stirred up a storm of controversy and ethical questions. Influencer marketing worked for BetterHelp because it leveraged authenticity and vulnerability. Creators with millions of followers shared personal testimonies, claiming BetterHelp changed their lives. Many included referral links or promo codes, driving subscribers to the platform. This approach wasn't just successful, it was wildly successful, with sponsorships from big names like Shane Dawson, Philip DeFranco, and Dax Shepard, introducing the platform to millions. However, this same strategy also became its Achilles heel. In 2018, cracks in the influencer campaign started to show, with a backlash centered on ethical concerns. Shane Dawson, one of YouTubers' biggest or most infamous stars, became the face of this controversy. His glowing endorsements of BetterHelp were soon questioned as fans noticed discrepancies between his praise and reports of subpar user experiences. Other influencers admitted they hadn't used the platform before promoting it, further fueling the criticism. The fallout raised serious doubts about the sincerity and transparency of these partnerships. At the heart of the controversy were three ethical concerns. First, BetterHelp's influencer-driven campaigns were accused of profiting from vulnerability by targeting people in distress. Second, the lack of transparency around influencers' financial relationships with BetterHelp led audiences to feel misled. Lastly, these campaigns often oversimplified therapy, portraying it as a quick fix for complex issues, which set a very unrealistic expectation for users seeking help. BetterHelp's subscription model added another layer of complexity. Influencers weren't just endorsing this platform, they were acting as salespeople, earning commissions for each referral. This transactional dynamic blurred the line between genuine advocacy and business interests, making the endorsements feel less authentic. With BetterHelp spending hundreds of millions on marketing, the focus appeared to be more on acquiring users than ensuring the quality of care. The controversy also highlighted a regulatory gray area around mental health marketing. Unlike traditional therapists bound by strict advertising laws, platforms like BetterHelp operated with far fewer restrictions. While the FTC requires influencers to disclose sponsorships, the level of transparency varied wildly, with some disclosures buried in video descriptions. Critics argued that mental health services should be held to a high ethical standard, given the vulnerability of their audience. In response to the backlash, BetterHelp introduced changes, such as stricter vetting for influencers and clearer explanations of its services. While these measures were steps in the right direction, many felt that it was too little, too late. The damage to BetterHelp's reputation had already been done, with lingering distrust towards the platform and its marketing practices. This controversy serves as a broader cautionary tale for the mental health industry and influencer culture. It raises critical questions about the commercialization of mental health and the ethical responsibility of some companies using influencers to promote sensitive services. For users, the lesson is clear. Approach influencer endorsements of health-related services with caution. Do your own research and remain critical of promotional tactics that simplify complex issues. For companies, it's a reminder to prioritize ethics over profit, because in mental health, trust is everything. BetterHelp's pitch was enticing: affordable, accessible, and confidential therapy available at your fingertips. But, like many online platforms, the promises in its marketing don't always match up to the reality that's hidden in the terms and conditions. Most users skim or outright skip these agreements, assuming they're protected. Yet BetterHelp's fine print reveals a more complicated story that raises questions about privacy, accountability, and the true nature of its services. Confidentiality, the cornerstone of therapy, is a major selling point for BetterHelp. The platform claims to provide a secure space for users to share their personal details, but its privacy policy tells a different tale. While BetterHelp doesn't sell personal data outright, it does allow for data sharing under certain circumstances, such as with third-party partners. Metadata, like how often a user logs in, can also be collected and used. These practices, highlighted in an FTC case, erode user trust and suggest that confidentiality isn't as airtight as advertised. BetterHelp often defends its practices by claiming the data it shares is de-identified, which we went over in the 21andMe video, meaning personal details are removed before being used. However, privacy experts argue that de-identified data can often be re-identified when combined with other datasets. For users, this means that their private information isn't as anonymous as they might believe, leaving the promise of confidentiality standing on shaky ground. Billing and refund policies add another layer of complexity. BetterHelp operates on an automatic subscription model, which can quickly become a financial burden for users who misunderstand or forget to cancel their plans. Refunds are rarely guaranteed, and prorated refunds for mid-cycle cancellations are not offered. For individuals already experiencing financial strain, these issues can exacerbate stress rather than alleviate it, undermining the platform's claim of affordability. The terms and conditions also contain limited liability clauses that absolve BetterHelp of responsibility for negative outcomes. If a user has a poor experience, whether due to unresponsive therapists or mismatched care, the platform isn't held accountable. While BetterHelp vets its therapist, it doesn't guarantee their experience will align to a user's needs. This gap between what's marketed and what's legally covered leaves users with little resources if their therapy experience falls short. Despite promises of customization, BetterHelp relies heavily on algorithmic matching to pair users with therapists. The terms admit that these matches may not always be ideal, putting the burden on users to request a new therapist if the pairing doesn't work. For individuals already struggling with mental health challenges, this process can feel overwhelming and impersonal, detracting from the therapeutic experience. One of the most concerning issues with BetterHelp's terms is the lack of informed consent. Dense legal jargon and lengthy documents make it difficult for users to fully understand what they're agreeing to when they sign up. Transparency could go a long way in building trust, but the platform's reliance on confusing language fosters suspicion instead. Clearer, simpler terms could help bridge this gap and rebuild users' confidence. Ultimately, BetterHelp's fine print reveals significant gaps between its marketing promises and legal guarantees. While the platform has undoubtedly helped many people, its practices around data privacy, billing, and therapist accountability raise valid concerns. For users, once again, the lesson is clear. Always read the fine print. And for BetterHelp, it's time to align its policies with the promises and prioritize ethics over expediency.
The world right now is in the middle of a mental health crisis. It's estimated almost half the population suffers from depression at some stage throughout their life. Rather than join the queue, it's important we learn why we get down and then how we can change it.
BetterHelp's rise to prominence has been accompanied by controversies that reveal systematic issues in the mental health care landscape. From data breaches to questionable marketing practices to inconsistent quality of care, the platform's challenges go beyond isolated incidents. They reflect broader struggles in a mental health care industry navigating a rapid integration of technology. BetterHelp's story highlights both the potential and the pitfalls of online therapy, raising important questions about its role in addressing a global mental health care crisis. The need for accessible mental health care services has never been greater. The World Health Organization reports that 1 in 8 people globally live with a mental health condition, a statistic that has only worsened since the COVID-19 pandemic. In the US, depression and anxiety rates have surged by 25% since 2020, and suicide remains the leading cause of death among young people. Traditional therapy often fails to meet this growing demand due to financial and geographical barriers, leaving millions without adequate support. BetterHelp has stepped in to fill this gap, offering a scalable, tech-driven solution that eliminates many logistical hurdles. Accessibility is at the core of BetterHelp's appeal. For people in rural or underdeveloped areas, online therapy bridges the gap left by a lack of local therapists. Its subscription model, while still costly for some, is marketed as a more affordable alternative to traditional therapy. Additionally, the convenience of online sessions make therapy more accessible for those with busy schedules, mobility challenges, or social anxiety. Yet, despite its accessibility, BetterHelp exposes deeper issues. Individuals with severe mental health conditions often require specialized care that online platforms struggle to provide. Moreover, the variability in therapist expertise and engagement on platforms like BetterHelp highlights a lack of regulation and oversight. One of the most concerning aspects of BetterHelp's model is the commercialization of mental health care. Framing therapy as a product and users as customers has helped the platform scale rapidly, but it has also introduced some ethical dilemmas. The tension between profitability and quality of care is evident. The use of algorithms and automated systems makes therapy more accessible, but cannot replicate the nuance of human judgment in pairing clients with therapists. Aggressive advertising campaigns, particularly those involving influencers, further blur the line between genuine advocacy and exploitation, prioritizing growth over ethical considerations. BetterHelp's reliance on venture capital funding has exacerbated these challenges. Like many tech startups, the platform has a focus on aggressive expansion to satisfy investors. This pressure to grow quickly has led to overloaded therapists, compromised privacy practices, and a transactional approach to care. Sharing user data with advertisers, for instance, may boost revenue but erodes trust, a cornerstone of therapy. This profit-driven mindset isn't unique to BetterHelp, but reflects a broader trend in the digital health industry. The platform's data privacy practices have drawn significant scrutiny. While BetterHelp claims to comply with HIPAA and other privacy laws, its 2023 FTC investigation revealed troubling lapses. Metadata about users' activity was shared with advertisers like Facebook and Snapchat, and while the data was de-identified, privacy experts argue it could be easily re-identified. For users, this breach of confidentiality felt like a profound betrayal, highlighting the risks of seeking therapy in a largely unregulated digital space. Quality of care is another major concern. BetterHelp uses algorithms to match clients with therapists, but many users report mismatches that fail to meet their specific needs. The decentralized nature of the platform limits oversight, meaning therapists operate with minimal accountability. Additionally, BetterHelp's terms of service absolves the company of responsibility for negative therapy outcomes, leaving users with little recourse if their experience falls short of expectation. The complete lack of regulatory oversight compounds these issues. Traditional therapy operates under strict ethical guidelines and legal requirements, ensuring therapists' accountability and protecting the client's confidentiality. In contrast, online platforms like BetterHelp exist in a regulatory gray area. Governments and professional organizations have yet to establish clear standards for data privacy, therapist vetting, or ethical advertising in the digital mental health space. This absence of oversight risks creating a Wild West environment where users' well-being is secondary to corporate interest. BetterHelp's accessibility isn't universal. The subscription fees remain out of reach for many low-income individuals, while seniors and those less comfortable with tech face additional barriers. Cultural sensitivity in another area where online therapy often falls short. Users from marginalized communities may struggle to find therapists who understand the unique experiences, and algorithmic matching systems rarely account for cultural preferences or needs. Without addressing these gaps, platforms like BetterHelp risk perpetuating the inadequacies they aim to solve. Despite its flaws, BetterHelp has demonstrated the potential of online therapy as a viable option for millions. The platform has allowed access to mental health care, providing support for those who might otherwise go without. However, its controversies underscore the importance of balancing innovation with accountability. To truly serve users, mental health platforms must place ethics and quality of care at the forefront of their operations. One path forward is to balance profit with ethics. Companies must prioritize user well-being over revenue by investing in therapist support, improving data privacy, and ensuring transparency in billing practices. Long-term trust should take precedent over short-term gains. Transparent communication about what users can expect from online therapy is also essential, as it sets a realistic expectation and helps build confidence in the platform. Improving therapist oversight is another crucial step. Regular audits of therapist qualification and practices, combined with feedback systems that allow users to report concerns, could ensure higher standards of care. Expanding accessibility by offering sliding scales, increasing language options, and developing user-friendly tools for older adults and those with disabilities would make online therapy more inclusive. Ultimately, regulation will be key to addressing the challenges in the online mental health industry. Policymakers must establish clear guidelines to protect users, including stricter privacy laws and standards for therapist accountability. Collaboration with mental health platforms to create industry-wide standards could benefit both users and companies by fostering trust and consistency. BetterHelp's story is a cautionary tale for the mental health tech industry. While it has shown the potential of online therapy to transform access, its controversies highlight the risk of prioritizing profit over ethics. As the mental health industry continues to evolve, we must ensure that technology serves as a tool for healing, not harm. The stakes are way too high to settle for anything less than ethical, effective, and quality care. So where does all this leave us? BetterHelp came onto the scene with big promises: accessibility, affordability, and a therapist in your pocket. For some, it's been a godsend. For others, it's been a headache, or worse, a heartbreak. And for everyone else, well, let's just say the jury's still out. Here's the bottom line. Mental health isn't a one-size-fits-all fast food drive-thru. It's messy, deeply personal, and requires trust. A trust that companies like BetterHelp have to earn, not exploit. Sure, they're filling a gap in a broken system, but are they patching the wound or just putting duct tape over a cracked dam? This is not just about BetterHelp either. It's about a bigger, more uncomfortable question. What happens when we let profit-driven platforms step into spaces meant for caring, compassion, and healing? How much are we willing to compromise for convenience? And how do we make sure that the most vulnerable among us aren't left picking up the pieces when these promises fall short? BetterHelp might not be the villain of the mental health world, but it's no knight in shining armor either. The real hero, that's you. Doing your research, advocating for your needs, and pushing for a system that prioritizes people over profit. Because at the end of the day, your mental health deserves more than catchy slogans and fine print loopholes. So, is BetterHelp the gold standard of online therapy, or is it just a shiny ad you've seen 1,000 times on YouTube? Look, it's fine if you're okay with generic matches, vague customer support, and paying premium prices for what sometimes feels like a glorified text chat. But if you're serious about finding the right fit, there are so many better options. Talkspace gives you therapy and psychiatry. Cerebral literally delivers medication to your door. And if you're broke and still need help, apps like 7 Cups have you covered without charging you an arm and a leg. BetterHelp might be everywhere, but that doesn't make it the best. So before you click on their perfectly targeted ad, remember, there's a whole world of mental health support out there that might actually put you first. Let me know which one you're trying, or if you're still deciding. And as always, don't settle for meh when it comes to your mental health. You deserve better than BetterHelp, because your mind, your well-being, that's worth so much more than a one-size-fits-all solution. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and if you take meds, don't forget to take your meds. If you do not take meds, go outside, touch some grass, drink some water, and as always, have the day that you deserve. Love you guys. Bye!